Gusta tu Corona was a dream of mine since I was very young. I didn't bring it to fruition until I was much older. And basically what it is we all have a story to tell. And a lot of people were not aware of my story, of their stories, and they were a little bit shocked to find out what our humble beginnings were and how we became so successful. So never underestimate the power of your story. It is inspirational, it is motivational, it can save someone's life. My message to all the women out there and to everyone out there who may be facing adversity, never forget how amazing you are. Never forget how exceptional you are. Ajusta tu corona and keep it moving. Good evening and welcome to Conversations with Ajusta tu Corona. I am Lillian Maldonado, founder and CEO. Tonight we have a special guest with us. You know, they're all special to me and I'm forever grateful that they take their time out of their day to come onto the show and spend some time with us and discuss their stories with us. I just am so grateful. And I'm also grateful to the audience that is out there listening to us and takes time every Thursday to listen to us, whether it be in English or Spanish. Send your hellos, send your comments, ask your questions. We're here for you guys. Remember that. I constantly tell you that. So I am an open book. I wear my heart on my sleeve. So anything that you need to know, if it's legal for me to say it online, I'm forthcoming. So now I'm going to bring our guest, Cynthia Watson, because I just love her. Hi,
Cynthia. Hello, Lillian.
Cynthia, before we start, I just want to say hello, Richard. Always a pleasure. That's my oldest child, and he is my utmost faithful fan. He is here every single week. I love him so.
Hi, Richard.
Cynthia, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Let's see. I am a mom, a sister, an auntie, a grandmother. I'm a good and faithful and loyal friend. I'm an entrepreneur. I am a woman of faith. I'm a growing and changing and evolving, mature Black woman.
She is most definitely all of the above. She has an amazing family that I have personally met. And when I was in their presence, it brought back so much of my childhood because they were so loving to each other. And it reminded me of when we were growing up as kids. And, you know, as kids, well, in everyday life, you grow up and everybody has their responsibilities and everybody goes their different ways. But Cynthia's family was so loving. Her sisters were there, her nieces were there, her daughters were there. And I just felt like I did not want to leave. Like I felt that love enveloping me and I wanted to stay there forever. But I did leave.
Only because it got late.
I was only going for a couple of hours and I stayed really late.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful family. So this evening, we're going to talk about growth and the changes that come with it. Why I picked this topic, probably because so many of my friends and so many of my family, everyone is just growing business-wise, mind-wise, financially wise, and it just puts like a hiccup. Like people wonder what is going on, why is she behaving this way? And we're here to tell you it is okay. It's just part of life. Cynthia,
yes.
Yesterday you were sharing a story with me. I'll give you a little bit of a hint. And I would like for you to tell your version of it again. We can start off with your platform.
So when you say my platform, you mean my need and my passion to help people.
Hmm.
I I believe my gift and my talent, one of many, is my love of helping people. I think that everyone wants to be able to help folks, but you need to know what it is that you can actually do. I think that my gift and talent is to help people who are looking to grow, who are looking to change, who are ready to make that leap, or maybe they're considering to make that leap, whatever that leap is. And I'm a great sounding board. And I talk to people a lot about change, change management, and some of the struggles that go along with it. Having said that, this can be something as simple as considering to start their own company, starting their own business, or going to scale with their business. I very rarely talk about personal issues because those are personal issues. I stick with the things that I know that I is my gift and my talent. People often want to talk about starting a business but not knowing where to begin or what's the first step. And in our cultures, and I'll say Black and Latino cultures, it's been my experience that people often don't know where to go or who to turn to or what's the first step, the very first step that has to be done. That's one thing. The other thing too is that I love to talk to people about change, change management. It's a struggle for some people, particularly when they're at a point where they want to grow or evolve and they have other relationship considerations and they don't know how to navigate those waters. And some of those conversations are around the challenges and the conversations that they may or may not have with people they love or they're in a relationship with. Those kinds of That's my gift and talent, I feel, because it's not because I'm nosy, although some people might say so, but I like to ask people questions because I feel like asking them the questions is actually going to get them to the place where they're going to identify what the actual situation is and identify what it is that they have to do. And the next step is up to them. Because for most people, that whole idea of change is very scary, right? Because they don't know what's going to happen. They don't know how people are going to perceive them. They don't know that next step. It's very scary. So that's one of the things I love to do.
We have Samara Diggs said hello.
Hey,
He's
Samara.
watching. I just want to feed off of what you were saying. So it's true. A lot of people don't have any idea of where to begin. But even if we guide them to how to begin, as soon as they hit that roadblock, that first challenge, they're ready to throw in the towel. So we are constantly here. She has her platform. She's very informed on nonprofits. I do small business. She also does small business. We're in different states, by the way, so we have no competition here. And even if we were in the same state, it wouldn't matter.
Exactly.
Um, so we are here constantly for whatever it is that people may need.
Mm,
And people have to understand they don't just have a dream and build it and think that everything is going to go smoothly. You need coaches or people that have platforms as Cynthia and myself to bounce off of to help you continue your dream, your journey until it is successful. And what is success? Everybody has their own version of that. Yesterday, we talked about how we're judged when we decide to make changes. And you spoke a little bit on a certain company.
So people, I think, are well-meaning. when you've made people are well meaning, they think they're saving you from yourself when you've decided to grow or change, um, move in a different direction. And with love, that's really wonderful. But what it comes down to, I'll just speak about me. What it really comes down to is God gave me the vision. God didn't give someone else the vision to make this move, to do this, to implement this project, to help out in the community this way, to give of myself to people freely and without any expecting any payment in return. God gave me that vision. God didn't give you that vision. He didn't give anyone that vision. So I'm a woman of faith, and I really believe that what he's has in store for me and what it is that I need to do. I'm the one that needs to do it. Now, I'd love the support, and I have a very supportive family, a very supportive friend, hey Samara, who's also my praying partner. Um, those people are my not they're my cheerleading squad, and they don't judge me. When I encounter people who I perceive as judging me, then for me, I believe that they're not a part of the journey that I'm about to take. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just that for me, I need to work with the people and the resources that understand that there's a much bigger picture out there, and this is not about me. This is about someone else's journey. This is about a much bigger impact. So it's really nice when people want to say things like, oh girl, you don't need to be doing that, or you're bigger than that, or you really need to think about this. That's nice. But the reality is that my conversation is not with them. My conversation is with God. And God lead and guides me. And I'm taking my cues from God. Anybody who wants to come along with me, you're welcome. Come along. But please don't tell me about the conversation and the direction I'm going in when I'm speaking to a higher power.
Amen. So we have spoken about this before, and a lot of people don't know this about me. Um, call it mental illness, call it a breakdown. I was 21 years old, and I opened the Bible to Revelations, and I read one verse, and I had a complete breakdown.
Wow.
And no matter what people said to me, it just wasn't getting through to me. The only way that it got through to me was that I had to end up going to the church and speaking to the priest of the youth group. I believe I was 21, 22 years old when this happened to me. And after that conversation with him, and after constant prayer, because it didn't just go away, it
Mm,
lingered, the feeling lingered for months and months and months. But constant prayer is what took me out of it. And I am forever grateful. So
yeah,
I am always of service, because I was like, that is the worst feeling in the world. And only he took that feeling away from me,
right.
to bring that feeling back. So I am forever grateful. I am of service to as many people as I can possibly be. And most of the things that I do are cause I am thankful and grateful for all of the things that he has given me, and provided me with, and allowed me to be such a wonderful person to other people.
Right.
What 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 have you learned through this process?
Um, Probably one of the things that I learned is to not be afraid of change. Change is very difficult, right? Um, and to let go, people hear the phrase let go and let God. That sounds real easy, but anyone who's tried that can probably tell you it is not as easy as it sounds. And for me, when I was or found myself evolving or changing, I had to step back and say, this is not, I'm not the one that's in charge. What I've been charged with doing is what God has told me to do. And so I have to follow what he's told me to do. And that's kind of scary, right? Because humans, we're used to being in charge of everything, like as many things as we possibly can be in charge of, right? Like we want to hold it, we want to harness it, and we want to whip it all in place, you know what I'm saying? And we want to do that with our friends and our families, and anybody who's a parent knows you just can't be in charge of your kids. You just have to pray to God and let them go out there. And that was what I had to learn. I had to learn that to let go and to evolve was to understand that change was going to happen, and a lot of those changes were going to not be in my control, and some of those changes were going to affect not just me, my family, my business, anyone I was in contact with. And as much as possible, I let my family and my friends know, by being in conversations. But again, at the end of the day, the change was going to happen, and I was going with the change because God was leaving that change for me.
Change is scary.
Change is very scary. And I mean, people, I think that we could just use the pandemic as a primary example of how scary change is, because everybody had to change all at once. A lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people still don't like it. But the fact of the matter is that if we were going to survive to get to the point where we are, we had to change. If you want to get to where you want to go to, that dream you have, that dream you've talked to God about, that business that you have, that impact you want to have in the community, you have to embrace change. That means that you have to embrace the fact that fear is going to be coming at you, and you're just going to have to brace yourself and just keep going through it and going forward. And some of that fear and some of that change is related to the people who are with you now. Will they be there with you at the end? And some of those people, they won't be there. But if the love is still going to be there, and I'm speaking from personal experience, my cheering squad is very small. There is very my family, my good friends. I have a tight squad. I'm not going to call them my squad, but I can say my squad, because those are the people who understand, love, and encourage me. That's what I need.
It's beautiful. You said have helped you to be a better self sufficient person.
I'm sorry, what?
Yesterday, you said that all of these changes have been here to help you better be a better self sufficient person.
Absolutely. I living through the pandemic, and I'm going to say that purposely, living through the pandemic and still being here. The one thing I learned the strength of my family, the strength of my friends to help me move forward, to help me evolve, to help me accept the change that I had to go through. I'm not in my 20s, 30s, 40s. I'm still in my 50s. And being in that stage of my life and being unemployed and wondering about, am I going to be employable later on? I had to consider, what was my life going to be like? Because my life changed in one day, like in one day. And I understand that if I was going to be better at the end, I had to change a lot of things. I had to evolve, and I had to become stronger. mentally, spiritually, like all of that, so that I could be more self sufficient at the end. Because it's not just surviving, right? You got to thrive at the end because you want to enjoy whatever time you have left. So it's surviving, but it's also thriving. And that is, to me, being able to sustain and take care of myself.
There was a comment that you made, and I have replayed it over and over and over. If you focus on the negative, you don't grow. You're just stagnant.
Absolutely. Um, there's this, it's so funny. I said to my sister the other week, I said, when I say certain things, I need you to say to me, this is what I said to her. I said, I need for you to say to me, Cynthia, what are you thinking about? Because when you focus on those things that are not pleasant, and I'm not talking about the realities of life, right? Because there's some things that you just have to. When you focus or you stay focused on those negative things or those some people who just give off this negative five, if you focus on that, then all those kinds of emotions, all those kinds of things, they come at you. You're bombarded with that, like, it, and it just settles around you. It's this aura that just permeates the air, and your whole outlook and your whole movement forward can change. Like everything can change. And my sisters are very, anybody who knows my sisters knows that they can be very, they can be subtle, but one of them can't. So she'll just say whatever it is she needs to say. She's like, oh, I can't talk to you about this. Bye. And like literally hang up. But that's her way of saying, you thinking about stuff that's not good, that's not pleasant, and that's not going to take you anywhere. So things that are negative or things that I try to get away from as fast as possible because they're not doing me any good. They're not taking me to where I want to go. And if you have a business or you have a business mindset or you have a vision, those kinds of thoughts, those kind of negative thoughts or negative energy is going to keep you stagnated. It's going to keep you right there in that moment. And if you have a vision or if you talk to God about where you want to go, you can't be stagnant. You have to grow. You have to evolve.
Absolutely. Back before the pandemic, you had a platform on health and wellness and travel. Are we going to see that come back?
Um, I don't know. I'm going to say I don't know. And the reason I say that is because I've evolved. Um, it's still there, right? There's very little to no activity. And when I say I evolved, I changed. I had to let go of some things. And one of the things, some of the things I started to think about was what really brings me joy? What do I really like to do? Well, I do like to travel. I do. I love to travel. I'm interested in nutrition and health and skincare and all that. I am. But what do I really, really care about? And what do I really like? I love numbers. I'm a I'm a data person. I love numbers. I love doing queries, accounting, stuff like that. But I also love helping the public. I love sharing of my time and interest with people. And that platform didn't allow me at the time to do what it is that I'm doing now. I talk with people about strategies, about change management, about moving forward, growing their business. I do accounting. I love numbers. I'm sorry for anybody out there who, whatever, but I love numbers. You know, I could do some data stuff for you. It's not magic, people, it's Excel. But that platform was wonderful because it showed me that I could work with people, have a good time, and spark some interest. Will it come in the future? I don't know. Um, Anything is possible. But it taught me a lot about my love for people and what I want to see have happen in the community. So change is not bad. I just evolved.
That's wonderful. I'm going to piggyback off of what she said a little bit. First of all, Richard said numbers are great. He's also a numbers person. Are great. For those of you that don't know, Cynthia and I traveled across the world to Thailand, Hong
Yeah,
Kong, Bali.
yeah, yeah.
We did the elephants. We rode elephants. We petted tigers.
Yeah.
So we had a great time. So our love of travel is definitely mutual. Um, the business that we were in at the time is something that she refers to as people may not have the same vision as you, which is why she said, God put the vision in her. God put that vision in me. And unfortunately, so many people close their minds off to opportunities, thinking that someone is trying to sell them something instead of seeing that someone is trying to help them better their life or change
Mm,
their life for the better. So we both agree on this. Um, we've been in the industry where we have been trying to help our fellow Latinos and our fellow Black people to travel. They, it's we're in a demographic where we don't get to try out much of anything. And when you see your fellow people doing these things, take advantage of it. Because we are born with our heart to serve others, we want to make sure that you also join on the ride to prosperity,
mm,
and which is also a part of growth. Fear will hold you back from growth.
yeah.
Doubt will hold you back from growth. Uh, Possibly your finances will hold you back from growth. But if there's a will, there's a way. And I have learned that when the new pair of Jordans come out, they'll sell whatever is in their closet, their necklaces, whatever they got to sell to get that new pair of Jordans. When the latest Louis Vuitton pocketbook is out, people are out there selling their clothes on Poshmark, doing whatever they got to do to get the money so that they can get this new pocketbook. But they will not make investments like that on bettering their lives and growing. And it's a sad thing.
Mm,
Growth and changes helps people with their strengths. Um, it's a mindset. Uh, all, all babies, Google Gaga, 2 words, learn to eat, learn to crawl, learn to walk. Everything is possible. We're in that same boat. We can learn to pick up a book, a notebook, go on YouTube, call a coach, call a consultant, and say, how do I start a business? How do I start my LLC? What kind of a business can I start? Well, tell me about yourself. What do you like? I have Richard asking, Cynthia, have you ever had to steer a client away from their model due to changes in industry or lack of market for their product or service?
Um, I've never had to steer a client away from the market. What I usually do is I like to ask probing questions, really targeted questions, because it's not up to me to tell someone to move away from something that they have a keen interest in. they have to come to that conclusion themselves. I ask questions because I sometimes think people are just processing out loud. And if I'm asking them question upon question, then people usually get to the point where they make a decision as to, I'm going to stay here and see this through because this is what I want to do. Or, you know what? I think I'm going to shift away and try something else. But I never tell people to, even if the numbers look like they should, the decision has to be the individuals, because at the end of the day, they have to feel good about the decision that they made, not one that I made for them.
Do you help your clients in pricing?
No, not in pricing.
Okay. I think that that's a big one. Then there has to be a consultant out there for that, because I feel that as entrepreneurs, we under, you know, we undercut ourselves. We don't put in the time that it takes for us to create the project, or the time we spend to the client to fill out the paperwork. And if you've got clients who are faithful for years and years and years, and you've been giving them prices from 20 years ago, and now 20 years later, you want to up the price $5, and they're having a hard time with that.
Oh, well, that, I'm sorry, I totally missed the mark on that question. So I usually work with people and help them do the research they need, because the one thing that I feel that happens a lot is that people undervalue their worth.
Yes.
And um and so when you shortchange yourself, you also are losing clients, because they're like, well, if you're only charging me $5 and the other guy is charging me 10 and everybody else, then you probably don't know what you're doing.
Oh,
So yeah, no.
I never looked at it that way.
Yeah, no.
In other words,
Yeah.
I always felt, when I was selling my jewelry, I always felt that I wanted to make it affordable for people. I wanted to make it
Hmm.
that it was within people's reach, even if I
Hmm.
only, gained a tiny percentage. I wanted to make
Hmm.
it affordable to people. And unfortunately, that's one of the issues that I tend to have the most in business, is that instead of looking at my profit margin, I look at my heart. And as they say, givers need to know to put limits on,
Yeah.
because takers don't have any. And since I've never been a taker, I've actually sometimes feel uncomfortable getting a gift.
Yeah.
I I don't see it, but I'm learning.
Yeah.
Never ever ever too late to learn.
Well, you can find a happy medium. I think that it might take, because we're used to giving. Um, I believe that you can find a happy medium, Lillian, because I know that I do. I do. I do. We could talk about that um, a little later, but I can share with you how I come to that balance.
Tell me some of the things you had to leave behind. You said that, within your growth, you had to learn to cut some things out of your life and leave some things behind. Would you share
Um,
what are some
so,
of the things you had to leave behind?
so I had to leave behind my expectation of what I have on people. I expected people to treat me like how I was treating them. So I think we all have this high expectation of people. And the reality is that people usually show you who they are all the time. We just gloss over it for whatever reason. So I had to leave behind my expectations that I have for people who I had relationships with. I also I had to learn to take people at face value. That was very, very important for me, because then that my whole expectations, that just blew my expectations out the window. I had to learn to leave behind thinking that I only fit in this box. When you're evolving, you can't have limitations. You
Mm-mm.
can't, you don't live in a box. Life is not, we're buried in them, God, forgive me, but life is not about being placed in a box. Yes, there are things that you want to do and you have a gift and a talent for that. But when you're evolving and you're changing, you have to think way out there, because the truth of the matter is that when God is about to bless you, he might not put it in a box. He could put it in a ship. You don't know. And by limiting yourself, you're limiting your possibilities of growing and going to where it is you want to go to. So I had to learn to leave behind my limiting beliefs. Forget about other people, leaving behind my own limiting beliefs. And then I had to stop thinking that people were going to act and behave like how I wanted them to act and behave.
Mm-hmm.
Evolving, that was my own personal and evolving. And while going through that, I purposely thought about who I was connecting with and who I just really gelled with and who we just had this real good synergy. And those relationships, just, I didn't stop calling people. But again, the pandemic showed you a lot about your friendships, your growth. It just showed a lot to me about, so these were my true friends all the time. And for some bizarre reason, it didn't click. I mean, I knew we were friends, but I didn't know we were like soulmate friends. And so I focused on those people who we just seemed to get along really, really well, and we could laugh and we could talk, and it just went well. And the other folks are still there. I see them on social media. They're doing really well. They're doing really well without me. And that's good. And I can laugh and I understand, but I learned to start taking really good care of me.
That's wonderful.
Hmm.
So when you reach that pivotal moment where you have a road to take, what does truth over harmony mean?
Oh God, truth over harmony. Um, for me, truth over harmony means that the conversations and the feelings are going to be uncomfortable. And I need to brace because it might be really uncomfortable. And and it might be really, really uncomfortable if there's a conversation with another person.
Hmm.
Um, I think sometimes people get really comfortable dealing with the you that's always allowed them to be in harmony. And so when you decided, or when I decided to be the true, like, well, this is wrong. This is how I'm going to be. Then it becomes an issue for them because it's no longer an issue for me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like I remembered, um, turning 40, and my attitude towards things changed. Turning 50, and it really got ratcheted up, right? And the reality is that I'm not a mean person, but at some point you have to draw a line in the sand and say, but that's wrong. And the way you're treating me or your expectations of me or taking me for granted is wrong. And I'm no longer going to allow that. And that's a change.
Hmm.
And and I evolved. And I keep using those words because it's a growth and it's growing pains. And for me, I let a lot of things roll off my back because I'm just not going to entertain those thoughts anymore. People say and do things, and I'm like, "Ugh, I'm out of here. I'm gone. I'm going," because life is too short and what you talking about or saying or doing is just nonsense. And the truth of the matter is that I need to feel good. I'm not being selfish. I need to be good. So it's no longer the harmony part was the, oh, it's going to be okay, and let me step back and let you do what you want, and I don't care if I don't want to do it. I'm just going to do it to, because you want to do it and I want to appease you. No. And again, not being mean, but truth over harmony is, but I really don't want to do that, and I pick my battles.
It's true. A lot of people, and there was a time where I was teaching religious education to 13-year-olds, and I would say to them all the time, how you feel today, 5 years from now, when you're 18, you're going to feel differently. When you turn 23, you're going to feel differently. When you turn 28, you're going to feel differently. We are constantly evolving. Our mind is like a sponge, constantly learning new things. As you learn, you continue to grow, you continue to evolve. You're not the same person. You meet new people, you go to different places. So you're never going to be in the same place, folks. It's okay to change. It's okay to grow.
And when you want to, though, I mean, there's some things you don't want to see change, but the reality is that in order for you to know where you're going, you have to learn some things, and part of that is letting some things go. um, it's growing up.
I still wish I was that kid riding the bike down the street on Woodford Avenue. I love that time of my life. But we had to grow up. No choices there.
Yeah.
So I guess the platform is a no-no, and I used to love hearing you talk about your travels. I guess you guys will have to see us on our next trip. Watch
Yeah.
social media. We'll be doing fine without
It should be soon, though. I'm encouraged not just with the weather, but so I think that um, everyone across the globe becoming is accepting our new normal, whatever that's going to look like, and we're coming out not totally not wearing masks and things like that and social distancing. But people are learning how to navigate in this new time period that we're in. And people are traveling.
yes.
That's a part of growth, right?
Hmm.
We had to let some things go. So we can't sit on well, not that well, we can't get on the plane and have those, what are those drinks called again? Yeah, spirited drinks or whatever like that. You can't have all of those things. That's changed. But the opportunity to travel, that's changed too. But the opportunity to travel, it's opening up.
Yeah.
So,
I have a friend that's a travel agent, and she
mhm,
just did a TikTok saying after 2 years of suffering with the pandemic, gas prices go up and airline ticket prices are through the roof. She's like, how
mm,
much more of this can I take?
yeah.
And it's true. I was looking at tickets because six of us are traveling to Dubai in September.
Oh, nice.
So we've been looking at ticket prices and we're like, whoa, should we get them now or should we wait? We're like, what do we do?
You're still going to go though, because going to Dubai and places like
Yeah.
that's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Mhm. Yeah, when you become what I like to call a seasoned traveler, you typically don't want to visit the same place twice because you know
Hmm.
that the world is so big and that there's so many places to go.
Yeah.
So just just go, folks. Even if you have to get in your car, just go somewhere
Exactly.
different. Try something different. And
Yeah,
you're going to see that you're going to open up your mind and your heart to a world you never even knew was out there. And possibilities are endless.
they are.
I want to thank you for
Thank
joining
you.
us this evening. We are going to end our show. And as always, I leave with a positive message. And I would like for you to think of one before you go. And mine's is always never forget how amazing you are. Never forget how much you are loved. Never forget how exceptional you are. Ajusta tu corona and keep it moving. Cynthia?
So my positive thought is you're a treasure. We're all treasures. And treat yourself like you're the most precious gem in a treasure chest.
That's beautiful. And remember, that gem is on the crown.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us this evening. We will see you back next week. Next week is our Spanish version. Have a good night. And next week, we will be coming back with a big announcement for you guys.
All right.
Good night.
Good night.